If the grid goes down tomorrow, the single most useless appliance in your entire house isn't your television. It isn't your microwave. It is your electric well pump. Most modern homes are sitting directly on top of millions of gallons of fresh water, but they are completely cut off from it. They rely on a 220-volt motor to pull it to the surface. Without that electricity, your well is nothing more than a very deep, very expensive hole in the ground. When people realize this, their first instinct is usually to grab a shovel. They think they'll just dig a well by hand. I need you to understand that hand digging a well is one of the most dangerous things you can do. Beyond the sheer caloric exhaustion, you're exposing yourself to lethal methane pockets and the constant, terrifying risk of a wall collapse that can bury you alive in seconds. It is a method of the desperate, and it often ends in tragedy. But 2,000 years ago, civilization had already solved this problem. They weren't digging massive, dangerous pits. They were drilling narrow, precise wells through solid rock, reaching depths of hundreds of feet. They didn't use horsepower or electricity. They used gravity, physics, and a specific type of leverage you can replicate in your backyard today. It is called the spring pole method. It is the lost technology that turns a piece of wood and a rope into a machine capable of piercing the Earth's crust. To understand why this works, you have to unlearn everything you know about modern drilling. When you picture a drill, you likely imagine a spiral auger twisting into the ground. That works fine for a fence post in soft soil, but if you try to twist that auger deep, you will eventually hit hard pan clay or rock. If you keep twisting, your tool will bind. You will either break the tool or break your back. The ancients didn't twist, they smashed. The spring pole method is based on percussion. It acts exactly like a jackhammer, but in slow motion. The concept is brutally simple. You lift a heavy, chisel-like weight and you drop it. Gravity slams it into the bottom of the hole, pulverizing rock and soil into dust. You don't cut the earth, you crush it. The brilliance of this system is how they lifted that heavy weight over and over again without exhausting themselves. This is where the spring pole comes in. The setup requires a long, flexible green log, usually a sapling about 25 feet long. The thick end of this log is anchored firmly to the ground, weighed down by heavy rocks or wedged into the fork of a sturdy tree. The thin end hangs out over the spot where you want your well. This log acts as a massive natural spring. A rope is tied to its tip, hangs down, and connects to your drill bit inside the hole. Here is the physics of it. The natural elasticity of the wood wants to hold the heavy drill bit up in the air. To drill, the operator pulls down on the rope, stretching the spring, then they simply let go. The spring pole snaps up, lifting the heavy iron bit. The operator pulls down again, adding their own muscle to gravity, and slams the bit into the ground. And here is the most critical detail. You can do this entirely alone. While historical wells often used teams of men to move faster, the spring pole is mechanically designed for the solo operator. If you are working by yourself, you don't pull the rope with your arms. That will burn you out in an hour. Instead, you tie a loop in the rope near the ground to create a foot stirrup. You step into the loop and use your entire body weight to stomp the drill bit down. You let the spring pole lift your foot back up. Stomp, lift, stomp, lift. It turns the drilling process into a walking motion, not a lifting motion. A single person can generate enough force to drive a heavy iron bit through limestone without breaking a sweat. It is slower than a team, but it guarantees you can access water without relying on anyone else. However, a quick word on safety. This method prevents the deadly cave-ins of hand-dug wells, but it introduces mechanical risks you must respect. You are dealing with a wooden spring under hundreds of pounds of tension. If your rope is frayed and it snaps, that pole becomes a bullwhip that can cause serious injury. Always stand to the side of the pole's path. Furthermore, you're lifting a heavy steel chisel all day long. If that bit drops on your foot, the situation is over. Wear steel-toed boots. And finally, always scan for underground power or gas lines. Hitting a gas main with a steel spike is a mistake you only make once. Now, let's talk about the tools. You only need two, and neither is complex. The first is the drill bit. In ancient China, these were solid iron. Today, you can fabricate one from a 4-inch steel pipe, cut jagged teeth at the bottom and harden them, or weld a solid steel bar across the opening. The most important factor is weight. The bit needs to be heavy, ideally between 50 and 100 pounds. The heavier the bit, the more force it delivers. But if you keep smashing the ground, eventually you're just smashing a pile of loose dirt. The bit will bounce off this cushion and you'll stop making progress. This brings us to the second tool, the baler. The baler is the vacuum cleaner of the operation. It's a hollow pipe, slightly smaller than your drill bit, with a simple check valve on the bottom, just a flap that opens one way. When you drop the baler into the muddy slurry at the bottom of the hole, the flap opens, letting mud and rock chips rush inside. When you pull the baler up, the weight of the mud forces the flap closed, trapping the debris. You haul it up, dump it out, and send the drill bit back down. The cycle is drill for 20 minutes, bale for 5. Drill, bale, drill, bale. There's a secret ingredient to this process that is completely counterintuitive. To get water out of the ground, you first have to pour water into the ground. You cannot percussion drill dry. The drill bit will just get stuck. You need to pour buckets of water into your hole as you work. This turns the pulverized rock into a liquid slurry, which serves 3 critical functions. First, it keeps your drill bit cool and lubricated. Second, it suspends the heavy rock chips, allowing the baler to scoop them up. And third, and most importantly, it prevents the walls of your well from collapsing. The primary danger of well drilling is the cave-in, especially in loose sand or gravel. The ancients solved this with chemistry. In modern drilling, it's called drilling mud, made from a product called bentonite. But you just need sticky, natural clay. When you mix clay into the water you're pouring into the hole, it creates a thick fluid. As the drill bit splashes this clay water against the sides, it plasters the walls with a mud cake. This temporary crust hardens and stabilizes the sand, holding the walls open long enough for you to finish. It's a natural, temporary cement. You'll know when you hit the water table. You'll pour water into the hole, but instead of it slowly dropping, it will stay high. Or better yet, the water level will rise on its own. You have connected with the aquifer. At this point, you must stop drilling and secure the well by inserting a casting. 4-inch PVC pipe is the modern standard. You slide it all the way to the bottom. To let the water in, the bottom 10 feet of the pipe should have hundreds of small slots cut into it, turning it into a screen. This keeps the sand out but lets clean water flow in. If you don't have PVC, the Romans used hollowed-out elm logs, which don't rot when permanently submerged. Finally, extraction. You have a column of water 50 feet below you. How do you get it up without electricity? Do not waste your time building a complex suction pump. Complexity is a liability. You need a torpedo bucket. It's simply a long, narrow cylinder skinny enough to fit inside your casting. It has a valve on the bottom, just like the baler. You tie it to a rope, you drop it down, it hits the water, the valve opens, and it fills. You pull it up, and you have 2 gallons of fresh, cold water. It is slow, it requires manual labor, but it is unbreakable. There are no rubber seals to dry rot, no electric motors to burn out. It works in the rain, it works in the dark, and it will work 100 years from now just as well as it works today. The reason this method was forgotten isn't because it didn't work. It was forgotten because it is slow. A modern drilling rig can punch a 100-foot well in an afternoon. The spring pole method might take you 2 weeks. We traded resilience for speed. We traded independence for convenience. But if the supply chain breaks, speed is no longer the priority. Reliability is the only thing that matters. The spring pole drill is the ultimate insurance policy. It requires materials you can scavenge, wood, rope, and scrap iron. And it requires knowledge that is currently being lost. Most people are stockpiling water filters, but a filter is useless if you don't have a source. They're stockpiling bleach, but you can't disinfect what you can't reach. The person who knows how to access the groundwater is the person who controls the most valuable resource on the planet. Stop banking your survival on machines you cannot fix. Stop assuming the electric pump will always turn on. Learn the physics of the past. The tools are simple, the work is hard, but the water is free. and it is forever.